What happens when Hollywood's wittiest charmer walks into the lion's den of daytime TV and refuses to play by the rules? What begins as a simple press stop turns into one of the most intense verbal battles daytime television has ever broadcast. Ryan Reynolds, riding high on yet another blockbuster success, was booked for a routine appearance on The View. But the moment he stepped on set, something felt off. The air was charged, electric, dangerous. Whoopi Goldberg sat at the center of the table, commanding, unreadable. But her eyes betrayed something different this time, intent. As Reynolds offered his usual smiley, the one that had melted box offices and audiences worldwide, Whoopi leaned in. Greater than so, Ryan, she began, her voice low and sharp. You've made a career out of being the funny guy. But don't you think it's time you grew up? Maybe use that platform for something real. Reynolds kept smiling, but his body tensed. Greater than I think making people laugh, especially now, is a pretty real contribution. Whoopi. Greater than escape, she echoed with disdain. You're profiting off people's need to avoid reality. While the world burns, you're cracking jokes. The table stiffened. Co-hosts shifted in their chairs. This wasn't banter, it was war. Greater than I think you're oversimplifying, Reynolds said, the smile fading. Comedy isn't avoidance. It's how we survive. It's how we cope. Whoopi narrowed her eyes. Greater than is that how you justify staying silent? Behind jokes, behind popularity, you're scared to stand for something real because it might make you less likable. Reynolds' voice sharpened. Greater than, and you've made a career out of anger. You hide behind outrage. Every conversation doesn't have to be a lecture, Whoopi. Greater than, and not every joke deserves applause. Whoopi snapped back. You call this comedy? But to me, it's cowardice in costume. The cameras caught everything. The studio was dead silent. Greater than, you want to talk cowardice? Reynolds growled. You've built a fortress around your opinions. You bully anyone who doesn't bow to your worldview. Joy B had tried to speak, but Whoopi cut her off with a glare. Greater than, don't you dare, she hissed. Don't you dare accuse me of bullying when you've coasted on charm and privilege for decades. Greater than, this isn't your show. Reynolds shot back. It's The View. Last I checked, others are allowed to have one. The gloves were off. Greater than, I've given more people a voice than you'll ever understand, Whoopi thundered. I fight for justice. You fight for punchlines. Greater than, and I fight for the right of people to smile again, Reynolds answered, standing now. Not everyone wants to be shouted at over coffee. Some of us believe in healing without rage. Whoopi stood to match him. Nose to nose. Greater than, then go back to your Hollywood mansion and your fanboys. You clearly don't belong in a place where real conversations happen. Reynolds ripped off his mic with controlled rage. Greater than, you know what, Whoopi? You're right. I don't belong here. Not because I can't handle disagreement, but because you don't allow it. He turned to leave. Greater than, that's right, Whoopi called after him. Run. Just like every other man who can't handle the truth. Reynolds stopped at the edge of the stage. He looked back once. Greater than, no, Whoopi. I'm not running. I'm just refusing to play a rigged game where disagreement equals villainy. He walked off. The studio was frozen. The co-hosts stunned. The producers shell-shocked. And Whoopi stood alone at the table, still breathing hard, her rage simmering beneath the surface. What started as a simple promotional stop had exploded into one of the most unfiltered, brutally honest confrontations daytime TV has ever aired.